Happy National Watermelon Day. Trackhouse Racing is celebrating National Watermelon Day by doing this, announcing Ross Chastain will drive their second car in 2022 and beyond. Of course, Ross Chastain, everyone knows him as the watermelon guy, the guy who smashes a watermelon when he wins. Was a watermelon farmer down in Florida. He might still do that, I don't know, but he has family. He does watermelon stuff, and so everyone knows him for watermelon. And then when he wins a race, whether it's trucks or Xfinity, he smashes a watermelon. He is still not won in Cup yet, but soon that could be possible, and soon it might happen with Trackhouse Racing. Of course, about a month ago, maybe a little bit longer, it was announced that Chip Ganassi Racing had been purchased by Trackhouse Racing, which is owned by Justin Marks, an ex-NASCAR driver, and singer-songwriter Mr. Worldwide Pitbull, and they decided to purchase that team, which means they acquired 2 charters and that they also acquired all the assets from the team, the parts, the team, the employees. But one car, because they only had 2 charters, of course, this year they were leasing a charter from somewhere else. Well, they lost that charter to another team. I think it was Colleague. And so that meant they were looking for charters. And of course, they acquired 2 charters with the Chip Ganassi purchase. And so now they have those 2 charters, and they announced already that Daniel Suarez would be in one. So it was a question that who was going to be in the other Trackhouse car in 2022. And so Justin Marks, right after the purchase, he said that the top of their list was Ross Chastain and Kurt Busch, which of course are the current Trackhouse, or not Trackhouse, the current Chip Ganassi drivers. So he said he was looking at them. They were top priority. They were the top of the list because, you know, they were basically getting booted aside. You know, Kurt Busch was already a free agent. So, you know, he had to find somewhere if he wasn't staying at Ganassi. There's been rumors of him going to 23XI. We'll talk about that later in this video. But after that, we looked at Ross Chastain, and in that video, whenever I made that about the purchase of Trackhouse Racing, or the purchase of Chip Ganassi Racing by Trackhouse Racing, I thought that Ross Chastain would be the right move, especially if Kurt Busch went to 23XI. So let's talk about it. Ross Chastain to Trackhouse. Might be a shock to some, might not be a shock to many. I'm not shocked. I personally saw this coming. I thought that this was their best decision if Kurt Busch were to leave, were to go elsewhere. So this is what I think. I think it does mean that Kurt Busch has decided to go to 23XI or another racing team. But yeah, let's talk about it. Ross Chastain, of course, we have talked about him for a few years now, was in the Truck Series, won a lot of races in the Truck Series, did not win a championship, got close in, what was it, 2018, 2019, one of those years he got close to the Truck Championship, just fell short, moved up to the Xfinity Series, and then, you know, in between there, he tried racing Xfinity for Chip Ganassi Racing, but then there was that whole DC Solar thing that happened with the FBI raid and them shutting down or whatever. So Chip Ganassi Racing lost their sponsorship for the Xfinity team. They had to shut down the Xfinity program, which left Chastain without a job. But Chastain was able to later get back on his feet with Colleague Racing in the Xfinity Series, made the playoffs, made a deep playoff run. I don't know if he won with Colleague. I'm not sure, but he was pretty consistent there. And then, of course, last year, Kyle Larson was fired from Chip Ganassi Racing after using a racial slur, and Matt Kenseth filled in for the 42 team. He took over that car for the rest of the season after many of us expected Chastain to take over that ride because of his connection with Chip Ganassi Racing, but Matt Kenseth took it over because I think Chastain was so focused on his Xfinity team, he didn't want to give up that. So then after that, it was announced that Chastain would drive the 42 car in 2021 and beyond, but obviously with that news that Chip Ganassi Racing was purchased, it was uncertain what Chastain's future would be, but now he has landed on his feet at Trackhouse Racing, the car that he drove last year, and he will be number 1 next year. This year, of course, the number 1 car driven by Kurt Busch for Chip Ganassi Racing. The reason being, I think Justin Marks said something like he wanted to be the biggest number and the smallest number in the field. Now, of course, people are going to say, but what about the double zero of Quinn Half? Yes, that is true, but, you know, you can't just steal a number like that. So, yeah, they're going to have the 1 and the 99. They're going to have a grand total of 100 in the field with the 99 and the 1 car for Trackhouse Racing. But this is a big move. This is a big deal for them. Good for Ross Chastain. I'm really happy for him. But once again, I like this move by Trackhouse Racing and obviously by Chastain. I saw this coming. I thought this was going to happen. It's just good for both sides. For Chastain, he gets a decent ride. He gets a pretty good car. Trackhouse is heavily invested right now into NASCAR. Justin Marks has a vision for the future. Justin Marks, obviously, he knows NASCAR as an industry. He's been in it for quite a while now. He is a new team owner, but he seems like he knows what he's doing. When he wants something, he goes and he gets it, as we saw with Daniel Suarez, with Trackhouse, with obviously Chip Ganassi Racing purchasing that team. So Justin Marks, he is not someone who's just going to talk the talk. He is going to walk the walk as well. He's going to go, if he wants something, he's going to go get it. And he wants to win in the NASCAR Cup Series. And he is trying to do that with Daniel Suarez and now Ross Chastain. As for Chastain, he gets to stay in the same kind of team. You know, some of these people from Chip Ganassi Racing, I'm sure, are going to go over to Trackhouse with the addition of a second team. So I'm sure Chastain is going to get to keep some of the same people on his team, get to know some of the same people, work on the same, well, I guess it's the next-gen car, so technically different cars, but, you know, same shop, all that stuff. So Chastain gets to keep some familiarity that will help him tremendously, I'm sure. But, yeah, for Trackhouse, once again, a really good move. They get a solid driver. Chastain, he isn't won this year. He's not in the playoffs right now on points, but he's had his moments where he has looked good. The first example I think of is at the Circuit of the Americas in May. Now, it was raining. It was a road course, so you're thinking, oh, man, you know, a young driver who's kind of aggressive, that might not work out too well. Chastain was really good that day. He was top 5 most of the day. He led laps that day. He was really good at Circuit of the Americas. He's had some other good runs this year. I can't remember where at, but he has had some other good runs, some top 10s. He got a runner-up finish at Nashville, I think, actually, too. So he has had some pretty good runs this year. He hasn't won yet. He hasn't competed for a bunch of wins yet. But I think if you give him the opportunity, you give him the time, Ross Chastain will be pulling into victory lane one of these days. So a good move by Trackhouse, a good move for Chastain to kind of stay on the same team in a sense, but at the same time, it's a completely different team. And then obviously the Chastain-Suarez teammates combination, I think that's a good one. Daniel Suarez, we've talked about his story before. We've talked about how he's went from ride to ride, been booted out a few times, but he finally gets stability at Trackhouse. These are two guys that are kind of they've been in the same situation before. They've been going from ride to ride. They've been booted out. Unfortunate circumstances have been the cause of their losing a ride, and of course now they are on the same team with long-term stability, which is exactly what they want. You know, as I said with Chastain, the Xfinity ride he lost, and then obviously with Suarez, we talked about him with JGR, with Haas, all that stuff. So two drivers and that have kind of had similar experiences. Well, they get long-term stability now. Here's what Justin Marks had to say. I've been a massive fan of Ross since the day we met over 10 years ago. It's an honor to have earned his trust and commitment to Team Trackhouse. Can't wait for 2022 with 2 proven NASCAR winners. Welcome to the house, my friend. So do we have to call it the house now? That just sounds weird to me. But anyways, obviously Justin Marks, you know, they got a connection there. They've known each other for what Justin Marks said is 10 years. They've got a connection. They've worked together. It seems like they know each other pretty well. Obviously, they respect each other because if not, they wouldn't be working together in the future. They wouldn't be signing that contract. But, you know, team owner has a lot of confidence in his drivers, saying he's got 2 proven NASCAR winners. Obviously, Daniel Suarez, an Xfinity Series champion. Chastain has won in the trucks in Xfinity, but neither has won in the Cup Series. But Justin Marks, as I said earlier, has faith in his drivers that they can go out and win some races for his NASCAR Cup Series team, which is a big deal. Obviously, that's a confidence boost for the drivers, but Justin Marks wouldn't have hired him if he didn't believe in him. So this is once again just kind of reassuring that confidence in the 2 drivers that he has. For one, Daniel Suarez, obviously, just reassuring the confidence of Suarez, and now the new driver Chastain just showing some confidence towards him. But as for the details of it, all we know is that he's going to be driving the number 1 car next year for not Chip Ganassi Racing, for Trackhouse Racing. He's going to be driving the number 1 car. It's obviously a Chevy Camaro, all that stuff. But no news on sponsors, no news on who the crew chief's going to be, no news on any of that type of stuff. The only thing we know is that Justin Marks has hired Justin Marks and Trackhouse have hired Ross Chastain to drive the #1 car for 2022 and beyond. According to Justin Marks, it is a multi-year deal, which is why I keep saying that they have long-term stability. I don't know if multiple years means 2 years. I don't know if it means 5 years. I don't know, because NASCAR just doesn't give information on that. Now let's talk about Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch, the 2004 NASCAR Cup Series champion, obviously has been in the one car since 2019. He has a few wins in that one car. 2019 he won at Kentucky, 2020 he won at Las Vegas, and in 2021 he won at Atlanta. So he has gotten Chip Ganassi Racing some wins in that one car. He was set to be a free agent at the end of this year, or whenever the free agency starts for NASCAR. So he did not have a 2022 ride locked up, but he was talking to Chip Ganassi Racing. He was talking to some other suitors. Then the news dropped. Chip Ganassi Racing is being sold, and now Kurt Busch is going to explore other options. But prior to that big news drop, it was rumored that Kurt Busch was talking to 2311 Racing, that he was talking to Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan about being in that second car. So this, to me, basically confirms that Kurt Busch is going to be in 2311 car. Obviously, Ross Chastain, he's a talented driver. He's a good young driver. But if you have to pick between Kurt Busch and Ross Chastain, I think you're going to pick Kurt Busch. He may be near the end of his career. He may not have many years left. But he's an older driver. He's a veteran. He's a champion. And he is still winning. It doesn't matter where he's been in his career. He has been a winner. But he's been really good. He's helped improve every team he's been on. So Kurt Busch would have been the top option for Trackhouse, in my opinion. So Chastain going to Trackhouse, to me, means that Kurt Busch is already locked up at 2311. Obviously, I don't know anything. There's no reports. There's nothing like that. That's just me guessing. But I do think that this means that Kurt Busch is at 2311 Racing in the second car. I don't know how they got that second charter, but we will find out soon if that is true. But yeah, for Kurt Busch, I think this means 2311, but what we know now is that Ross Chastain will be at Trackhouse Racing in 2022. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is this a good move for Trackhouse? Do you think they should have gone with someone else like Kurt Busch, with another different young driver? Is Ross Chastain a good choice? Is this a good choice for him? Should he have stayed kind of in the Chip Ganassi Trackhouse kind of thing, or should he have gone elsewhere? I personally think it's a good decision, as I said, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. We got a race this week. It's been a while since I've been able to say that, but going to Watkins Glen this weekend for the NASCAR Cup Series, and I think Xfinity and Truck too. It's a full NASCAR weekend, but yeah, I hope those are good races, obviously, but we'll have some more videos this week. Let me know what you guys think, but yeah, have a great rest of your day.